What do you mean?
Now we're recording.
Oh
wait, I want to take a picture.
BJ,
So anyway.
pee shy.
I said to
Is that what
myself,
it's called?
Can we get someone to take a photo of us?
no.
Oh, why?
We have a bunch of
We have
people
we have a
there.
camera that's taking pictures of us all the time now.
This is in his dream too.
I know.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I have to do the photo.
Yeah, taking pictures.
I've been thinking about this.
Taking pictures and video of men has been his dream for a long time.
I mean,
Okay.
in our chat is very good for him.
I'm posting on my Instagram.
Well, start us off, BJ. You know, this is awesome.
So anyway, welcome back to Iron Clinic,
What is
the
what is the
podcast.
name?
This is episode
The Forge?
642.
Is it the Forge?
Yeah, welcome back to the Iron Clinic's
Forge by
podcast, The
Iron
Forge.
Is that what,
yeah.
okay, yeah. Do we
Episode
have to all
642.
talk in dwarven accents.
No.
No.
All right,
Yeah.
good. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Can.
I just want to make sure I am like.
I do think that would be frowned upon.
That was also
Very nice. So that's how you sound.
Yes, okay.
Wait, hold on. I need to clap us in real quick. Hold on. All right, we're good. Sorry. I have to sync the audio and the video.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
One of us.
Clap on.
One of us.
It's a dream. I can't wait to clap us in.
10 years. 10 years. You can clap us in next time.
I just enjoyed the clap followed by 3 seconds of absolute silence.
Yeah.
Like, it's because all three of us were just like, what
was
the
that?
fuck happened?
Oh man.
Well,
Anyway,
hey,
can you
cheers.
clap us in again this
We
time?
did it.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Hey.
We spent a stupid amount of money to buy gear that we have no business having, but
We're gonna have
fun
a
thing is
business.
this: you can literally go on Spotify and go, "I want a podcast," and they go, "Here's everything you need to do that."
Yeah.
You can literally post it
absolutely.
right here, and the world can listen to you.
I mean, you said you downloaded an app. Like now, there's very simple apps to do this.
there's apps. There's no barrier to well, okay. I say there's no barrier to entry. We obviously spent a little bit of money to buy all this stuff, but we didn't need to. We
mean,
could have
I'm-
recorded this on our phones.
I'm recording episode 2 on my laptop. That's what he said.
Episode
Episode-
2 was recorded long ago. We're on episode 642.
We're live from the Glendale house. Episode 2, though, will be or wait, what's the next episode?
648.
648 will be at Michael's backyard next to the wood pile that he won't stack.
I do stack it.
I did bring you that.
Pile.
I brought you a wood pile stack.
I good
thing.
I stack it once it's chopped, but I have a bunch of stuff that isn't chopped yet.
All right.
That's just in a pile. That's true.
Anyway, we're here to talk about fitness. Not really. We're starting a gym and we're starting a podcast, and we've all got different fitness journeys, very different fitness journeys,
Yeah.
and goals and objectives, and we've all kind of come together, in group chats and in our friendship circles, and started to motivate one another and push each other a little bit more, I think, than we had been previously as individuals.
Absolutely.
And that has spurred into this stupid idea of starting a podcast to talk about fitness and other BS that we talk about at bars usually, which is why our episode
This is
647 or whatever we're on is at the Glendale house.
Yeah.
Our first
Unofficial
officially
sponsor.
recorded
Unofficial
podcast.
sponsor, the Glendale House
Yeah.
in Glendale, Ohio. Fantastic location, owned by the great Pokey. Great location, great beer.
Yeah,
He looks like he's
cheers, Pokey.
he looks exactly like his name suggests. Very pokey.
It's funny.
Some might say
it's actually
illegal.
it's not why he got his
Illegal?
nickname, which is the weird part. He got it for other reasons, but we won't go into that here.
I wouldn't call him illegal, at least to his face. I don't know him that well though.
Yeah.
So how was your workout today, Michael?
Not bad. Not bad. It wasn't a standard workout. It was mostly working outside. I chopped a lot of wood, moved a lot of stuff around. Yeah.
So
I didn't
what-
actually get into a gym today.
So what's your like typical day-to-day, or not even day-to-day, week-to-week workouts? What do they look like, whether they're in the yard or not?
For me, at the moment, I've been able to get 2 in Monday and Wednesday after school before I go pick up my son. I'm trying to add in a third one on Saturday because I lost my Friday workout. So
I thought you were going to say you lost your son. I was like, that's
I did not lose my
real
son.
awkward,
Hell
real
of a way
quick.
to announce it.
Yeah.
That would have been a little bit more awkward, and I don't think I would have been here right now.
Yeah, I would hope not.
But yeah, I lost my
I
Friday.
wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
Like, I lost my son
listen,
anyway. I'm doing a podcast.
I'm saying your
gotta
kids
have-
are resourceful.
You
Your
gotta
kids are
have
resourceful.
Gotta get the
priorities.
podcast out, guys.
You
Gotta
gotta
get the
have
podcast out.
priorities, and no, I lost my Friday workout, so I'm gonna try to get in Saturday, and also I've been thinking I really want to get in Saturday so I can go to the Y and actually use free weights
Yeah.
and not be on machines the entire time.
The middle school only has like
The middle school only
Just
has
machines.
machines. It only has machines, which are great. Like I still feel like I get a really good workout.
Absolutely.
And actually, I feel like I get a very good workout fast, but I am limited. It's just the exact same thing over
there's
and
limits
over
to
again.
what you can do in a machine
Yeah.
gym only.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Just trying to stay consistent with it, and yeah,
good. Okay.
So
Adam, what did you do today?
Yeah,
You
what
know,
is-
you know it's
I
funny.
think he ran like what 4
I don't go-
miles?
I don't go to a
10
gym.
miles.
We know. We know. By the way, no one suspected that
Yeah.
before
Yeah,
you said
I'm
it.
certainly not.
Strangers
a gym
would
goer,
never look at you and be like, "That guy goes to a gym."
That goes to a gym.
right? Gym rat right there.
Strangers look at Adam and think, "Why is that stranger looking at
I
me?"
crawl into the
Most
darkest
people
hole.
see him and they're like, "Man, the Unabomber got swole."
Where's his glasses?
Yeah. So where are you at on your fitness journey?
So actually, just this past week, it's been 5 months.
5 months.
So June 6th, I think it was the day that we were talking about our trip to Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you know the thing that happened. I'm not gonna bring it up now, but that
We're
was
going
the
back.
day I decided it was time, right? So I've been exercising for a number of years at that point.
Well, you've done one marathon,
Ran
you've
a
done
marathon,
lots of
I've
other
run a half
things.
marathon, and I was consistently running. But as you all know, I was frail.
Pencil arms.
It still is
Yeah.
fairly frail.
What's wrong with pencil arms?
Well, it's not that. It was that in the last at the last Flying Pig, you were running, and it was also kind of rainy and windy, and there was a concern that you were going to blow away with it.
Yeah.
Like they were
That's
like,
fair.
people need to
Absolutely.
shelter, especially that guy.
Especially that guy.
Oh, for 100%.
Maybe bolt him down.
There was
yeah.
a morning during COVID. It might have been like 2021 where I was getting dressed in our closet, and I like threw my back out essentially trying to put my shirt on, and I was just like, Adam, what is wrong with you? Like you're 31, 32 years old at the time. Like it's time to do something,
Yeah.
right?
And that
So,
was
yeah.
last year was the last year you were Slender Man for Halloween, right? You quit doing that.
Yeah.
It's a tradition that's gonna
Yeah.
die.
Well, that's just because he's not around. Like he's not allowed around bulk groups of
yeah,
children
Yeah,
anymore.
not allowed children around anymore.
Like if there's more than 3, he's not allowed near
And
them.
that's our first
Yeah.
reference of Adam not
These
being
guys-
allowed around kids.
These guys really love me, you can feel
Yeah.
the love in the room.
I mean, yeah. Contractually binding love. Yeah, I think it's a thing.
good.
So now you're running. You
So
are
now I
lifting.
run and I work out in our home office, which is basically my permanent workplace at this point. But I've got 3 sides of the room. So I have the treadmill in the room. Then I have my sort of workstation where I work typically during the day, and then I have this third section now that is dedicated to where I do my weightlifting.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a set of adjustable dumbbells. I've got a set of normal dumbbells with adjustable plates, and I do everything right there on the mat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you bench?
That's a good question. I don't bench. I don't bench.
I think it's been really cool to see you truly getting in to the dumbbells, to the free weights that you do have. It's not like a crazy amount of weight, and the one thing I like to tell people all the time is you don't need a lot of weight to make a big difference, but you've taken like the resourcefulness that I had to have when COVID first started, when I was literally squatting and benching like cat litter and dog food bags because there was nothing
We're gonna
else.
have
There
to
was
talk about
nothing available. But you've taken this resourcefulness with these dumbbells, and you've kind of done the same thing too for a long time, and just
bit,
like
yeah.
completely built your exercise regime around that
Yeah.
to chase down this goal of what I would call just like general health.
Functional fitness is kind of like my end goal ultimately. I just want to build a sturdy frame.
Yeah,
That's it.
and not throw your back out.
Frame.
Not throw your back out
not,
putting on a
not
t-shirt.
hurt yourself doing daily tasks.
Yeah.
Fair, completely fair. What about you? What are you doing these days? You have your home gym in the basement.
Yeah.
It's not dark and dingy.
It's not, but very, very minimal there. I just have the adjustable weights as well. I got the bench down there to help with some of the basic exercises. And then I've got a couple different bikes down there to do basic cardio. But transition from that to going to a public gym. I'm not going to use their name because They're not really.
Yeah,
allowed.
that just
They're not
that
a
just
sponsor.
started.
Unless you want to sponsor.
They don't. It's competition, anti-competition. Can't tell them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going to a public gym now for 2 weeks, working on, is it Jeff Nippert, his program?
Doing that one? Yeah.
Yeah, but been consistent with that and really moving quickly on the weights. I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's really starting to come together, feeling more confident on things. I threw my back out a bit today though, but we don't need to talk about that specifically.
When do we take our shirts off?
We take those off at the end.
Is that-
of the
oh, is
podcast.
that-
That's
okay,
on our
okay.
that's on our Patreon, which has a link to our
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
It's on the calendar that gets sent out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Well,
Yeah. And what
BJ,
about you, BJ? Tell
all
us
you.
your fitness journey.
Tell us your story, Beat. Honestly, I was thinking when we've been talking about this, like in the chat, I was like, when did BJ go from skinny to freaking? When
think-
was that day that you were like, I need to go down this path?
so
I think that's true. I think yours is the story I know the least about, which is weird.
and it's probably the longest story, which it
We've
it
got
is
time.
You know,
We've got
it's
time.
interesting.
We're recording a
Many
podcast. You
moons
can tell that
ago.
story.
It's
Right?
interesting. It's interesting that it is though the story that you don't know, because I feel like
Well, you've been the link for all of us really getting into it.
Sure.
I think all of us have come to you for getting started, and yet I don't think we know your story.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Sometimes we call him Daddy.
that is unrelated
So-
to the workouts.
So my fitness journey really starts all the way back in middle school, high school. I think most of us played some kind of
Yeah,
sports.
most of us did go to middle school.
Yeah, most of us graduated middle school too, and we're not going to say who didn't graduate middle school. But elementary, middle, pee wee. I played football, pee wee league all the way through middle school. I played football in high school. I started running cross country and track. I got really into that, and I was super skinny. And if we could have Mark Ruffalo pull up some pictures of what I looked like back
Please,
then.
yeah.
Mark.
Thanks,
Yeah, you
Mark.
back
Thank
there?
you, Mark.
So I was super skinny back then, and definitely was not lifting weights. I had endurance. I was quick. I was fast. And what I knew at the time was the longer the race was that I was running, the better I did overall. So 5K, pretty good, okay. But 10K, half marathon, and then the triathlons eventually, the more endurance that was required, the better I did overall in that event. And I ended up loving
interesting.
triathlons.
That is interesting.
So fell in love with it, was halfway decent at cross country, and when I went to college, I was like, I'm going to give it a go. I was halfway decent. I wasn't horrible. I wasn't making any crazy times that would get me to top in the top 10 in the state or anything like that. But then I go to college and I am dead last on the team by well over a minute. And these guys, they were D3. I went to Allegheny College, D3. They went to nationals every year at the time. I don't know if they still do anymore, but when I was there, the guys that were running were fantastic. They were so good, and I was so much slower than them. Inconceivable. There was no chance I was ever going to catch up to them, and it was demotivating. But it was a realization point for me too that I'm not meant to run 10Ks. That's not what I was supposed to do. I was still really interested in the triathlons. I did that for another year, but I just honestly came out of nowhere. I fell in love with yoga. And I
That's
became,
right.
Yeah, so I became a yoga instructor and a personal trainer in college, and I started training people. I started the group fitness program at Allegheny. So at the time, there were any kind of classes. There was no Zumba, spinning, nothing.
There
no
were
yoga.
only 6 students, so I mean, it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well,
Not a big-
hold
yeah.
on. First off, 2,100.
oh wow,
Yeah.
excuse me.
So, or maybe it's
Let me
1,200.
back
I don't
up.
remember what it was, but it's one of those two. So we had no group fitness classes, and myself and one of the other guys in the fraternity who was 3 years older than me, he was my inspiration for the yoga. He's the guy who showed me the yoga stuff, and we got certified to teach these classes, to start teaching group fitness classes, and then start the yoga program. So yoga was the most popular program at the college. It was taught 7 days a week. I was teaching usually twice a day. Most of the other classes did 1 or 2 a week, just depending on what the class was. And they were just Zumba, kickboxing, hip hop dance, those types of classes. The normal things you would see at a studio.
Yeah, standard kind of classes.
When I left that, though, I remember that last class I taught. It was huge. We had to move it from the room we normally did it in, which is a fairly good-sized yoga studio, we had to move it onto a basketball court. And that many people showed up for my last class. It was this was my baby that I had built.
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
3 other teachers now. They were all gonna stay on, and I was leaving. And I'll never forget that last class. And when I left college and I started traveling for work, it was almost instantly that I was I miss teaching people something. The yoga class was that way for me to help people get better. And even in college when I was studying, that was my goal with psychology, was I just want to work with, I didn't know what it was, but I wanted to work with people to help them improve their lives. Ultimately, I didn't go that route at all. I chose not to go to med school or do any of those things that I had taken the time to study for and work towards. and my career took me towards sales, but those first 2 years out of school is when I traveled for work.
Yeah.
When I traveled, I couldn't do any kind of teaching or training or anything like that. And immediately I had to fill the void, and I remember I had some moment of like, well, I've trained all these other people, like I'm just going to train myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to start learning how to train myself in something I've never done, which was weightlifting. I don't know why, but like there was just something about it that I was really attracted to. And at the end of the day, what it boiled down to was that I was not happy with. I'm never perfectly happy with how I look. These days, I'm way better than I used to be. But at the time, I had such little confidence in myself and such little like belief that I was like an acceptable looking human being that I was like, I'm going to start exercising to improve my body.
Yeah.
And learn how to train me. And if I can learn how to train me, I can learn how to train other people.
Yeah.
So started down the journey. I traveled for 2 straight years. I got to visit all these different gyms, and within the first year is when I had the idea too of like I want to own a gym one day. And I remember exactly where that was. I remember where I was in New York, but I started lifting. It was 2014, and I was 175 pounds or so. Mark Ruffalo, pull up that photo. The one of me in the mirror where I'm like,
don't pull that.
Mark,
I
sit
think
down.
I have this photo.
Sit down, Mark.
I think the earliest photo I have of me lifting, I have like orange shorts on. I am so skinny, and just I look so exhausted and
You look
tired.
like Adam now.
Yeah, but all I was doing was like body weight fitness. No, Adam looks way better than I
I was
do.
gonna say, I've seen pictures
Yeah.
of
I'm
Adam.
gonna-
He looks like me.
Mark, pull up that Photoshop photo of Adam and then put it next to my
Put your
non-Photoshop
pants
photo.
on, Mark. Jesus.
Oh, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I had hand gloves on and I was doing body weight fitness stuff. That's what I started with.
Are
'cause I
all
was,
gloves hand gloves? Just answer that question real quick for me.
why did I call them hand gloves?
Yeah, I don't know. Go on.
Kitten mittens.
So I started with that, and then I just really quickly realized like I need to go into the gym and start lifting with a barbell. And I have all of the notebooks still. I have them all at home. I have 10 years of notebooks almost now, 9 and
Yeah,
some
and
change.
that's something that for the people watching the podcast that you should know is the number of Ted Kaczynski notebooks that we have that BJ has made. It's alarming. We're gonna kind of slide past that, but just know that.
None of us have ever actually been identified as the Unabomber.
Haven't.
But has the Unabomber ever been identified?
I have no
he's
idea.
in.
Oh wait, he's
Oh,
in prison.
absolutely.
He's in
He's
federal
in
penitentiary.
Yeah, he's in
Has he though? Has he though?
Yes, he admitted to it. We know who he is.
Trust me. I write him letters every week.
You write yourself letters. That's so nice.
Wait, how does that work?
Self-love.
Wait, are you on leave?
Self-love.
Where did you get out?
How did you get from? Isn't he in like Arizona? How did you get all the way to Cincinnati?
That's why he's cold right now.
Anyway,
No, so you
No,
decided you wanted to train yourself.
yeah,
I'm curious. That brings me to a question I had because you kind of touched on it. Of like, what was the moment that everybody had that kind of sent them on trying to be more consistent, which is a whole different conversation about consistency. But what was the moment that you were just like, okay, I am committing to this?
So I'll start and finish kind of my story, which is as soon as I started doing it, there was when I was in college, I took myself off of ADHD medication, and yoga showed me like how to kind of rein that in a little bit. When I started lifting, that was amplified 100-fold.
Sure.
And I still to this day, like some people will say, oh, I haven't had my coffee yet. Like my day's like completely out of order, you know.
Dude,
For
when,
me,
when you don't lift, like it's noticeable. Yeah,
So like this
your
last week I've been sick,
personality-
right? And I've just
yeah.
been struggling. I've been struggling really hard every day. When my son was born last year and I couldn't lift really at all for a little while, I had a very hard time even getting out there. But eventually my Anissa, my wife, had to like force me out there and be like, you've vocalized you need this.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Right.
Even if it's only
Right.
20 minutes. And I remember that first workout. I remember coming back inside and being like, I am literally on top of the world right now. This
Yeah.
is what I need to make me feel good. So for me, when I started doing those lifts, I have videos and pictures of me like learning how to lift. And I look back at them, I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you were doing back then. And you were trying to deadlift 225 pounds. That was so unsafe. Like all this horrible form, this journey though of learning how to do this stuff and be able to pass that on to other people. But the moment I felt that first endorphin rush and my mind felt that clarity that I had never felt before for 20 years plus at that point. I had never felt that clear and forward on like where I am going in my day-to-day life. That's when I got hooked. And so now I cannot drop it. I'm sure I'll do it the rest of my life in some form or fashion.
It's spiritual at this point.
It is
yeah?
spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, edit that out.
No, no.
Austin.
For my motivation, I mean, I've been doing rugby now. I think this is year 8.
Well, you played soccer in high school.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot.
So I've always been active in some form or fashion. Stopped soccer because in Cincinnati I couldn't find a group of people that I really was committed to and had that community that I wanted in. And rugby, that's where I found that. The Glendale house that we're at, Pokey, who is the owner of the Glendale house, he was my coach in rugby. That's kind of how we ended up here. But I found that community, and that was something that I really enjoyed. And then kind of with weightlifting, that really came about. I've kind of gone on and off in consistent years, and then falling off again several times. But I also had a kid this past year, and that was a point where I look at kind of my family life, and my dad is not in a point where he can be a good grandparent in a lot of ways. So he's not able to do hiking or any of the fun things that I got to do with my grandpa, and that's something I'm looking forward to, being able to be a dad that I can go hiking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to outrun and outwalk and do all the things that Addie's gonna need me to do for
never-
her whole life, and then my dad's whole life.
He is
or
never.
her.
My son is never going to lift more than I do.
Yeah,
I will.
we are aware.
I said this last night, I'm going to literally die the moment he can lift more than me in anything.
Because you're gonna try to outlift him.
No, it's-
no.
no,
And
I'm
it's gonna
just-
kill you.
We were talking about this last night.
I know.
What's going to happen is we have a katana that's going to be on the wall of the iron clinic.
Oh,
with
yeah,
some
yeah.
glass,
Yeah,
and he's
sure.
going to commit seppuku if
Yeah,
it
right,
ever gets to that
Right.
point.
People will be like, "What's
Yeah.
that for? Is that
Yeah.
a real katana? Where did they get a real katana?
Yeah,
Who
Walmart.
gave them a real katana?" Like, there's gonna be a lot of questions, and then one day,
It's
like,
gonna-
if I disappear under like abnormal circumstances, it's not abnormal. Zane lifted more than me, and
he's
I was
gone.
away from
He's
him.
gone.
Yeah.
Well, and so that's the thing is with my motivation, it's to be there in a place where I can always be there to support Addie, and also the community that we've built. We've been idiots and kind of done this chat, and it's worked out where we've got this nice community where I can feel confident in what we're doing, and then we all kind of shit on each other all the time, but
All the time.
it's in a positive way where it's like we know we're joking and supportive and can have those
We're
conversations.
joking? Do we?
I'm not.
Look, according to the government, yeah, but so and,
Legally
BJ and I
binding.
talked about this with the Iron Clinic. The whole point is to build a community of people that can be supportive of each other's journeys in different ways. Like we've already talked about how all 4 of us come from very different kind of backgrounds and kind of goals as well, and we're all able to support each other in those journeys. And that's that's something that's really important to me is being able to be a part of a group like that where we can have the support we need and feel confident in that, and this is the spot that we've got, and,
Gosh,
and
this
I
is
enjoy
getting
it.
really mushy, and this is getting really
Yeah.
emotional.
Adam,
right now.
Adam, why don't you take it back to the robot and
Yeah.
tell us about your moment? I think you kind
I
of.
mean, I
you
kind of
kind
touched
of did.
on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was this frail figure of a human.
Like if you think
But
of an
beyond
elderly
that-
home,
So it was
Beyond that,
literally, he was like, I
literally-
was concerned that I couldn't
But
put
you weren't,
shirts on
though.
anymore.
I mean, you weren't though. I mean,
Oh,
you
I
were
wasn't.
very active. You were obviously.
You were
strong.
healthy. So-
Yeah, I mean, you're running.
So I don't have the athletic background that you all probably do. I didn't play any like really physical sports in
Don't
middle
speak
school
for
or college.
Michael.
Don't speak. For, I was gonna say.
I played basketball in middle school and I golfed in high school. If that tells
Was
you
there
anything.
was there
I've got
was
a
there
golfer's
carpet
brain.
on was there carpet on the floor when you played basketball?
There was
What?
not.
wait,
Then get out of my face.
you had carpeted basketball courts?
Yeah, when you play in a church league,
Soft
there's
landing.
carpet on the floors.
Where?
That's how the Mormons
Because
play.
you play in
Wait.
you play in the like
Yeah, the gymnasium at the
gymnasium
church.
is also the
It's the worship
what's the-
center.
yes, thank you, the worship
Yeah.
center.
So where's the basketball hoop come from?
they come
It
down from
comes
the
from the
walls.
ceiling, yeah.
My
It's
brother,
like-
my brother who my brother,
Mark, pull up
so-
the video of the hoops coming
Yeah,
down.
no, my
know.
brother is a pastor, and he says like I think it's at least once a week they take all of the chairs out, and you don't notice this when the chairs are there, but there are basketball like tape.
There's lines, yeah, lines on
and
the
then
ground.
the hoops come down,
Wow.
and they play on the weekends, and then they put them back up, and the chairs come back out, and they have church on
My
Sunday.
93-year-old
that's where
grandma goes to a
that's
place
one
called
of
the
places.
facility. They call it the facility is where they go to worship.
So unless there was carpet on the floor when you played basketball, you are not
There was no
less
carpet.
athletic than I am.
We semi had jerseys that were the same colors mostly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
You know,
Not
it was
even
a
got
team.
jerseys.
Right?
Yeah, that's how teams work. Yeah.
What?
Nope. Yeah, jerseys. Yeah, that's a
I don't know
whole
what
thing.
just happened right
Yeah.
there.
They couldn't
so-
afford
so-
jerseys at the
so-
church.
So you weren't the most athletic, but like
No, yeah.
you were obviously very fit. I mean, you're running a lot.
Yeah, I was running a lot, right?
When you have to
Yeah.
run away from your past a lot, you tend to get fairly quick.
Yeah. No, at some point, like I ran inconsistently. I think Austin mentioned being inconsistent. I was that as a runner for a long time when I was in college. Every now and then I just like feel like going out for a run, but I never really developed a routine. And really, I think when COVID hit and when we were working from home, that's when I was like, why am I not? Right? Like, why am I not
Yeah.
developing
and
consistency?
and was
Yeah.
was that when
Right.
you and I started running down at Lumpkin?
yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. Yeah, we'd go outside, we'd do the 5-mile loop, and
Yeah.
it was awesome.
And that was good because I mean that was kind of the beginnings of having some consistency with this group. Is
Yeah.
we had that thing where it's like, okay, let's go run, and I hate running,
Yeah.
but we did it and it worked. And
I've learned to love it. I
Yeah.
can't say I loved it when I started, but it's something that's.
No, but
I
you
think,
love it now.
Like,
I mean,
like
say.
with lifting,
Yeah.
I don't want to do without it now.
I mean,
I know.
listen, if someone who loves to run is going to run more than someone who doesn't have legs.
yeah, sure.
That's just. You know what?
Mark,
Today's
edit
fact.
that out. Yeah.
Today's fact brought to you by Michael. People without legs are not going to run as far as
Legs are
people
pretty
with
important.
Brought to you by
legs.
Sam through Michael.
Sam
Okay.
through Michael. Okay. Yeah.
No, so I think,
you're
Adam,
just
what the most true thing is, though, for you,
Yeah.
is that your enthusiasm with your morning runs and the lift that you do or don't, whatever it is you do, you always run.
Yeah,
And then
I
most
do.
days you will do a lift.
I
But
mean,
your enthusiasm after that run is the exact same level that I have after my lifts.
Yeah.
And it is very clear and evident to me that you have that joy from that activity is there for you, and I don't see that in many people at all. And I think a lot of people, and we can talk about this at a different point in time, and I would like to talk about it at length at some point, but most people, they search for that happiness, comfort, just that runner's high that you get,
Sure.
that lifter's high that I get, and they never find it because they're looking for they're doing the wrong activity, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you found
unfortunately, there's a lot of options too. Like that's the thing is that there are so many different things you can do to work out
Yeah.
that, to your point, it's hard to find that one thing if you're looking in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Because there's all these normal things that people do, but like I'm not a runner. I'm never gonna be
on our first podcast. Are you
Seriously,
fucking kidding me?
Mark, get rid of it.
I
But yeah.
muted
I was like,
it.
he
Yeah.
hit the mute button. If
It
you
doesn't.
guys wouldn't
They
have
all
said
saw.
anything.
They all know what's
Yeah,
happening.
it wouldn't have even been there.
It's
had
on
not
the
said
video,
anything.
but the point is that like with running and you with weightlifting, like those are two at least fairly common things. There's people that those aren't ever going to be their thing,
No.
and
Yeah.
there's some things that's like until you're exposed to them, it's hard to find them. So I mean, it's great that you found them early with fairly common things at least, but
Yeah.
there's people that struggle with it just because there's a lot of other ways to do workouts that aren't necessarily as well known.
Well, and that's because most people will never realize the joy that competitive fencing can bring to you.
Yeah.
And today's
Dude, that sounds
sponsor is
like
actually
so much fun.
Xavier's fencing team.
That sounds amazing.
Do
Thank
you
you for
like
being our-
fencing and like Catholics? Try Xavier fencing.
Got so quiet.
Wait, are they
when I said
Catholic?
that.
Are they Catholic?
I don't know what
Yeah.
part
Are they
of town
Christian?
we're in right now.
Catholic.
But I'm a little afraid.
It's a Catholic church. It's St.
All
Xavier's.
these
That's fair.
religious references.
fair.
Yeah. It's St. Xavier's.
So, Adam,
I,
for,
I've
ahead.
got to clarify something though, because like you explained this, like I found this like passion. I can't say like this was something I've like learned to love, right? Like it wasn't
Absolutely.
something
Of
like
course.
I could probably do it with nearly anything, right? But it took time to build, like to develop that
course.
passion,
Yeah.
I think. And once I built the consistency, that's when it clicked for me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
But
Well-
that's the thing I think most people don't understand.
Or
I
at least
feel-
struggle with. Like, I think there's people that
Yeah.
understand that, but it's hard to get past that barrier.
No. I don't mean the consistency component. Even for someone like me who is in that gym every day if I can be, barring sickness and like forced rest days, I have to peel myself out of bed some mornings to get out. And I work out the first thing in the morning, butt crack of dawn.
I know.
But
you and Adam are fucking.
We are
psychopaths.
psychos,
You guys are
but
just like-
I still will sit there some mornings and I'm like, come on, BJ, like, you got to get up. You got to go out there. It's 4:30. It's gym time.
Yeah.
The dog will be like there. The dog knows the routine.
Yeah, they're
and
excited.
Yeah.
And I know that I need to go do that. And I know also, perhaps more importantly, I know that if I don't do that, how disappointed I'm going to be in myself.
Just had that happen. I was at the end of the school day, and it was on Wednesday, and it was one of those moments that I was like, I want to go to sleep. Like, I want to go to sleep on my desk right now. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And I had a moment that I was like, I had to take a break, for a couple of weeks because my side was hurting so badly.
Yeah.
And I've told you guys, like, it's amazing how old I felt over that, like,
Instantly.
couple of weeks.
It-
Like,
it
my body
doesn't
just
take much.
felt old.
Right.
And I remembered that, and I was just like, if you don't go work out, you're going to feel like shit the rest of the day.
Yep.
And I went and worked out, and it was just like, I felt amazing after that. Not amazing. I felt great after that. It wasn't a good workout, right? Like, I didn't
No,
hit
but
hit
you
But
did.
the
yeah,
maximum,
it's the effort. It was
but I
yeah.
did it,
You put the effort in.
and I felt so much more like awake and happy after I did that.
And I think there's a lot of people who'd be like, "Wow, Michael, that's a really unhealthy mindset. You shouldn't feel so bad about yourself for not doing that." But I don't know. I
It's
think
not-
there's some power
Whatever
to
gets
the.
your ass
But
in
the
the
thing
gym,
is,
right?
it wasn't going to be.
Yes.
Whatever gets you in
Yeah.
there.
I think
it does.
it wasn't going to be a mental thing. Like, it's not that I mentally was going to feel bad about myself. I knew that I was physically going to feel like I had not done what I was supposed to. Like,
Well,
like
right.
it wasn't like a mental, I feel bad about myself. Like, it was just like my body, like, wanted to go do that, but my mind was tired.
Sure.
Right?
So I just hate myself more than you hate yourself.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
I'm
totally
a very,
fair.
No, we've talked about this. I'm a
We have.
very happy lifter.
You are. I know.
I
Me-
listen to like pop music and stuff.
Me, I get in that
Like,
gym and I'm like,
We're,
listen,
we're
you fat
getting
sack
ahead
of
of
shit.
we're getting ahead of episode 2. Episode
we're not
2
on-
is
it's true.
100% about self-loathing,
It's true.
loathing, and how you guys don't have the right amount of self-loathing.
That's
We'll
gonna
get
be
to
an
that.
interesting episode.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So no, but and for me, one of the things that's been really helpful is, you know, again, we're gonna get sappy with the community, like having 3 other guys that I can say, like, even if it's not quote unquote accountability, like if I don't work out today, you guys aren't gonna get pissed off at me or anything, like, and ask why didn't you work out. It's more just like, hey, I want to go and show the guys, like, hey,
Yeah. It's
I worked out
positive
today.
reinforcement.
It is.
Positive.
And
Like,
it's the best type
anytime-
because there's
Yeah.
there's no negative feedback on it
No.
too, because I can say, hey, I'm having an off day, I can't do it today, and there's not going to be this like,
No.
screw you.
But
why
as
didn't
soon
you do
as-
the
as
thing?
soon
But
as
there
you-
is going to be,
well,
but there
maybe
is
a
going to
little
be a, there is going to be a why.
Yeah.
Sure.
And-
Why
Sure.
can't you
So
go,
there's,
Austin?
there's going to be
And it's
gonna
the right
be an
amount of it.
excitement. There's going to be an excitement every single time that like one of us posts something about like I didn't want to but I did it, or I
Right.
didn't for
Yeah.
a couple of days and now I have. There's the positive reinforcement.
And you
of,
know
like,
what ends up happening
good
for me
fucking job.
sometimes
Yeah.
is that I'll be so like maybe it's like the middle of the morning and I'll do my cardio most days during my lunch hour. I'll do about 30 minutes of cardio during that time, and some days I'll find myself slipping and I'll be like, you're thinking about not doing it.
Yeah.
And I will text you guys and I'll be like, I'm gonna do cardio at lunch.
Yeah.
And one of
Yeah.
you would be like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and you'll just say something, and now I feel like
I
I'm
gotta
always
do
I'm
that.
always waiting to see your results.
I'm
you know?
committed to it.
And you
Well, no,
should know that.
I
I'm
feel like
waiting to see the
I
so-
have
and
to.
I-
I have to send a screenshot of like, here's my
Yeah.
heart rate.
Let's-
Like,
Picture
Let's
didn't
do some
happen.
public
Picture
call-outs right
didn't
now.
happen.
BJ and Michael don't give enough great pictures, and I'm a little
I don't.
upset
It's
in our
true.
chat.
But that's
true.
because of what I
want cheese pictures. That's what we're here for.
I don't mind sending
Here's-
pictures,
all right.
but that's part of my journey though.
We
It's
want
like,
to
hold
I
on.
We
Don't.
want to see them.
here's what's coming.
You've seen.
Here's what's coming.
seen
Though.
things.
Next month the cut starts. My
Yeah.
cut starts.
And
I think you're doing it too.
Yeah, we're doing a cut.
And I am committed to doing a lot. Actually, I might be.
wait. But before you get into that, and I understand. Let's come back to it. But before we get to that, let's just go. What are our 4 goals in our fitness journey at this point in
Go
time?
first.
So my personal goal, I want to get down to 235. That's a journey that I've been up in weight. Apparently, being an expectant father makes you put on weight, and getting lazy and older and getting out of shape. So I want to get back down to where I was at and be healthy. And that, you know, my whole journey is to be there for Addie and be a good parent. So 235 is a weight that I want, and then just to be in great shape. And I feel like I'm getting in great shape, and then moving towards that weight goal. But that's where my fitness journey is taking me currently.
Well, I do want to say publicly on the record that Austin's journey so far has been quite noticeable, probably more than
Yeah.
all of ours at the moment. Adam's has been very noticeable as well, but
Absolutely.
Austin had a lot to lose and gain at the same time, and it's very
My
noticeable
marriage.
the work he's done.
My marriage. I haven't
Well,
lost
I wasn't
it yet,
talking about
but
that.
We're
Yeah.
getting there.
Here's my current goal, and I have my goal has always just been to be the biggest guy in the room, which sounds really stupid, but that really has always been my goal. Like I just do bodybuilding, right? But
It's
now
hard because I'm bigger than you.
now the goal the goal is shifting because I've had this retrospective look at everything I've done and also starting to look forward too, right? I've lost both of my grandfathers in the last about 6 years or so, and one of them lived to 88, ran marathons, still lives in the 70s, like did all that stuff, and I had
Are you
this
gonna start
realization.
running with me, BJ? Is that what you're about
No,
to
I'm
say?
not going to run.
Oh my god!
But
I was getting excited.
what it made me realize though was I want to be able to do that. I want to be like my grandfather, who was active literally all the way through. Even though he wasn't running anymore, he was still in the pool or at the YMCA doing stuff. And so I've had to start like kind of thinking like, all right, I'm 31 now. What is? Wait, no, I'm 32. What is the what are the incremental goals and what's the like 10-year goal? I want to like think about that so I can start planning for getting older and not being able to do what I'm doing right now. So at the moment, my goal is still bodybuilding. The cut starts next month, and the current goal is going to be to lose as much body fat as I've ever lost in my entire life and be more shredded than and that sounds so conceited and vain.
It's
very vain, and I know that.
I want you to
But
like
when
put
we
these.
go-
I want these stamped on top of us so
When-
that the goals are on there. It's on like white stamps of what our goals
Yeah,
are.
Mark, put those on
It's
the
like
screen.
bing,
You heard it
bing.
here
But
So, yeah.
when we go to Mexico, I want to one day be able to look back on pictures and be like, you frickin' did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You literally got as ripped as you possibly could, and you did that. Because it's not sustainable, and that's a whole other thing. But it's not going to be a sustainable thing. But it's something I can do, and then continue to build from. And the
It's
goal
an
after
experience, right?
the
Next
goal-
week, how to build sustainable
yeah,
goals.
it's an experience. And the goal after that is going to be more strength focused. We'll talk about that at a later date. But the current goal is next month starts the cut, lose as much weight as possible in a healthy manner, and retain as much size and strength as possible, so that this trip at the end of February, beginning of March, I can look as good as I've ever looked in my entire life and as low body fat as possible, while also still being healthy.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's awesome.
Obviously, Michael.
Well, so I'm gonna take a side, and BJ can edit this because none of you motherfuckers asked me about my journey.
what do you
I
mean?
was gonna bring that up because you.
None of
asked
you
us.
said that. I just say none of you
No,
asked me.
Talk through
was
it.
considering it.
You're the
I was.
you're the first. Anyway, go on.
Really? Because I'm pretty sure I haven't.
What's
Well,
your motivation?
what's your
right? That was
motivation?
question.
So
why? What's your why?
It was my question. Yeah, the question was like, what was the moment? So my history is closer to yours, but even farther. I'm the biggest dork in here, right? Like I am an anime
You
watching,
literally are the biggest.
and that too.
Literally.
Like tallest.
Tallest, right.
Not biggest, tallest.
6'9".
6'9".
But yeah, anime watching, D&D club running. Like I'm a giant nerd, and I was always extremely skinny. Like you guys talk about being skinny. I was 6'9" and 175.
Oh my
pounds.
gosh.
Yikes.
I was
Yikes.
175, 6'1".
I was gonna say you guys keep
Wow.
making jokes about like I was so skinny. It's just like listen, bitches.
I-
you guys have no idea.
Just
what
for
it
the record, I
means.
never said I was skinny.
No,
I
that's
want to
true.
make sure that that's
Those
clear.
two.
You were skinnier.
Once.
But I never really had a big problem with it. I never felt bad about that. And so for a long time, I lived on a farm, and I got very inconsistent and like high intensity exercise. And we talked about this when I first started working out. Was like I would drop like 15 pounds
Yeah.
in a couple of weeks because I was just like sweating
Right.
constantly.
Well, you had
for
some like
labor.
very
Yeah.
intense
Yeah.
things that you were working
I
on.
was,
like,
yeah, I mean, I
at
was
the same
raising
time.
cows and building
Yeah.
fences, and I was working outside, and I would get done with the day and just like lay in a bed and just be like, I can't,
Well,
I can't fucking
in
move.
context too, Michael. Like, how big was the farm that you worked on?
The land was 42 acres. We
Yeah,
only worked
sure.
like 20-ish of it.
But still, that's 20
20
acres,
acres.
and you were really the
was a
sole
lot.
person that was doing
Pretty
a lot
much,
of that work.
pretty much.
So yeah.
And so mentally, what's so funny is that mentally, for probably since high school, I have had the line of if I ever cross 200 pounds, I'm going to start working out. Because until I hit 200 pounds, I'm just going to be a string bean. Like, no matter what I'm just not
Yeah,
going to...
there's not much you can do without more
I
mass.
tried to gain weight for a long time. I just couldn't do it. And so when we moved away from the farm, in like a year, I put on like probably 20 pounds or so. And that was when I, talked to BJ about like, all right, I am ready. Like this was the line that I was like, if I cross this line, I'm gonna start trying to work out. But that wasn't really my motivation, I guess. Why? To then go from that was my journey to get to lifting consistently. But the reason for why I lift consistently, it always comes back to the exact same thing: is I want to be able to carry my children for as long as physically possible.
Hell yeah.
And
So
I'm
what
talking
hearing
about
is
like
the Appalachian Trail with all
I'm
the
talking.
kids.
I am
That's what I'm
talking
hearing.
about like I want to be able to like I see my son coming home from college and he runs at me and jumps and I am able to physically carry him around at like 20, 21 years old.
gonna be
That's what I
very
want to be able
awkward.
to do. It's gonna be
Homecoming,
awkward, and I don't
yeah.
care because he's gonna be like probably taller than me, but I'm gonna do
Lachlan's
it.
gonna be a bruiser.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, like that's my goal.
I can't wait to train him for
So
rugby.
it's a little bit bodybuilding, but I don't really care about the way I look. I don't really care about my
family,
overall
Sure,
it's
sure.
family, right?
It's just it's
Family.
strength, right? Like I just want to be strong enough.
It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Like I want to be there for my kids because I mean, same with my father. You know, he is not able to do a lot of things. Like we went to the Reds game and it was one of those like, is he going to be able to make it up to the seats
the stairs,
of
yeah.
the stadium? Like I don't want to ever be that.
Oh, we would love another
I'll take
round.
another round. Whatever.
Yes.
4 cream ales.
Cream.
I don't know. you
Oh
can
wait,
surprise
yeah,
us.
surprise us. Just
Yeah.
pour 4 beers,
Don't surprise me.
and then
Don't
wait,
fail.
we have
I
to
don't
figure
like
out
beers.
what it is.
Yeah.
And whoever doesn't pays for it.
Yeah.
Sponsored by the Glendale House.
Yeah. So that was Pokey. Pokey is also crazy like Adam. He runs marathons and shit.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a big
we'll have to
runner.
talk to him.
He looks
Okay.
Yeah.
great. How old do you think he is? Or do you
He
know how old
he is late 50s, early 60s. If
He
I'm not
looks so
mistaken.
good.
He looks good.
Like,
So yeah,
If I can look that good,
yeah,
but way bigger, of
his
course.
his
Like,
wife Laura is
He's
way
hot.
nicer than him
Like
too. Like Laura is one of the best humans of all time.
I'm sorry,
so-
did you just call him hot?
Oh yeah.
What?
You ever wanted to fuck a bald
now.
eagle?
That's on
That's what
record.
Pokey is.
Got that.
By the way, we're gonna have
I-
to figure out how cussing on this podcast is gonna go at some point.
We're
just for the record.
we're not going
We
to be able
are
to monetize this for a
way
while.
past that.
I know
think-
we're
hold
not
on.
past it, but I'm just saying we gotta figure out where do we draw the line?
I want to. This is a learning experience. I want to get to your goals, but the one thing I do want to say is that like I feel like at this point, for the most part, all 4 of us have a similar goal.
Should we all hold hands before you
Of
say
which
this?
long-term-
I'm not going to hold your hand.
Okay, thank
Of
you.
just long-term health.
Yeah.
I would hold
That's
your
that's
hand.
my only
Like
Yeah, that's
I
my
want to be able.
biggest thing.
For you, it's like I want to be able to like carry my kids, and it sounds like silly when you
Oh
say it
yeah,
like that.
no,
but
and
it's
I
like-
think Mike
like I
and I
said,
are on the same page
no,
with that. Like
I-
that's where I'm at
Yeah,
from a lot of my
like
stuff.
I have, like I said, I have a lot of songs on my playlist that are legitimately like make you cry family songs.
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
disgusting. No,
because
mine's
like,
like
because
Will
like I will
you
be because like I will be working
remember
out.
me?
Yeah, I'll be working out and like it'll come on and it'll be a reminder of like your kids are why you do this. Like I don't. It's not about.
It's a lot of Bluey theme song and things
no,
like that.
No, but no, like I don't have the motivation to like you need to get bigger. I could give a shit about that. I've been skinny my whole life, you know what I mean? But like remembering like Banner's getting bigger every day, and he's gonna keep getting harder and harder to carry, and like I have to keep up with that.
I don't care about
That's my
that. Do you
goal.
actually work out to Sarah McLaughlin?
That no, not that. Kind of stuff, but, no,
For
but,
just 25
In the
cents a day,
arms
you could save Banner
my
from not
children.
being
that
picked
would
up.
probably get me going though. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
It's not on my playlist,
You know,
but
here's the thing. I just want to be able to be that guy who can still be mobile and not the kind of person though who's like, oh, I got up off the couch and threw out my back.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you were talking about earlier with your
Yeah.
shirt, right?
Yeah,
Like,
we don't want
I
to
don't
turn out
have
like
that
you.
moment. I had
Yeah,
that moment.
we
you know,
don't want to turn out like you,
it's
Adam.
amazing
We're
how
sick of
early
it.
that can happen.
It is,
Yeah.
and but you know what? I think what I've learned truly, and I've learned this through all the studying, and the reading, and the training I've done, and the helping of other people. That doesn't just happen.
No.
You don't turn 30, 40, 50, and that just starts happening. There's
No.
there's a component of you let that happen.
Yeah.
You let that
It
degradation
can
happen
happen.
over time.
It
now,
can
now,
happen really early, but
Now.
it's still.
We're not blaming you, Adam, but
No.
it is your fault.
But when you look, you could still look at people who are 60, 70, 80. There is natural progression that happens,
Yeah.
or I should say maybe not progression, but decline that happens just as you age.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that when you're 30 or 40 or 50 that that's the norm. It should not be
Absolutely
the norm.
not.
It
Absolutely
should
not.
not be the norm.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother podcast, I feel like, in and of itself. But I want to
Yeah.
talk about Adam, about your goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your
What
goals?
are
My
your
current goals.
Your
is that
current
we're
goals.
on?
Current.
Okay.
Adam's current goals are to actually look like the pictures that Kelly thinks
Well,
might be real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
Mark
to
Ruffalo
beat-
will pull those
and-
up for you right
yeah,
now.
and to beat the court case against Ted Kaczynski. We're it's unrelated.
For using your name.
Yeah, for
No,
using
you
your
know, so like I said, the past 5 months, my goals have been really just building consistency and like building some strength, right? But
You're a machine.
now
You are a machine.
I was
with
to say,
your
of
workouts. It's
consistency,
ridiculous.
you're more consistent than BJ, and I say that because BJ has been very
Yeah.
inconsistent because he's been
But
sick
you
and
know-
making excuses.
Thank you for that last part right there.
Yeah.
That really hurt
It's
me.
important
Yeah.
to differentiate. Like what I do, I can do every day. Like
Yeah.
my routine, like. You know, I can do without needing recovery days, whereas you know
Sure.
some of the workouts.
Yeah,
you
I
all
have
do
to-
it.
That's fair.
I have
That's
You
fair.
have to take
oh
time
my
off.
I have to every
right?
about 3 or 4 days.
If I don't take a day off tomorrow, it's gonna hurt.
Okay, wait.
later.
Exactly.
We have beers.
Oh
we've
my
got beers.
goodness!
We've got bowl, yeah.
Welcome back from the ad break.
Should I finish?
Yeah, can you please?
Give me to finish.
Yes.
already?
All right. So,
Get going.
so we've been refreshed.
No, you know what I was going to get at is that you know my short-term goal is sort of like you, BJ. So you're training up to Mexico, which is great. I'm training to May 1st, which I'm going to be running my second marathon.
I might be
So-
too. I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
But I might be too.
You might be too.
Might be.
Yeah, and you are too, right?
Hey, if
You're
this
gonna run a marathon
podcast
with
hits
us, right, Michael?
500 subscribers, I'll run the marathon with
By
Daddy
when?
on my back.
By when?
By the marathon.
By the marathon. You heard it. If we get 500 subscribers,
By the marathon.
By the marathon.
I'll run the marathon with Addy on my back.
which means he's not going to train for it, by the way. Well, no, that means you have to start
That
training
was
for
your
it.
goal, was it not?
I want to do it with Addy on my back.
Look,
I don't
we're not
know if
talking about
they'll
your
allow
goals. We're talking
that.
about Adam's
I know.
goals.
I'll run the marathon with you.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
we
You're
gonna
get
slow
500
him down.
subscribers. I'm not. He's gonna outrun me. I'm saying I'll
Oh.
run it as well as you. Go
All
on.
right.
I mean, so that's all I was kind of getting at. You know, at some point I'm going to be increasing my running volume quite a bit. Currently, I only do, 22 to 25 miles a week, which is pretty low volume, generally
Yeah.
speaking.
Sure.
'Cause
for
you're
marathon
doing roughly
training.
a 5K.
Yeah, for marathon
You're
training.
doing roughly
but-
a 5K every day.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, some days I'll
So,
do 4 or 5 miles.
My first question is, where do you get your instruction or guidance on your running training for this marathon?
That's my question because
I
like
guess a lot.
Okay.
I go a lot by how I feel.
Okay.
Honestly, there are days, especially last year, it was the first time I ever did a marathon training block, right? So I went online, I found like a stock kind of beginner program, right?
Didn't you post that to one of our chats?
I might
Yeah.
have, yeah,
Definitely
So
did.
I've got this like Google sheet that I use, and I'll track my runs every day. From essentially, I'll start December 1st and go all the way to May 1st. But ultimately, there were points I would build up, and the weeks would just get intense, and my body couldn't handle it. So I knew I had to cut back on
Right.
some weeks.
Sure.
So
Of
course.
I didn't stick to it completely.
sure.
Well,
What-
I think like the week or two before you were up to like 20, and then you had to cut back one of those weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Like right towards the end,
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
were like, no, I
well,
can't
there
do
was
it.
a point I got injured, right? So I
Yeah.
bought
Yep.
the bike. You guys remember?
Yep.
I was
Yeah.
trying to keep my cardio
First
up
got
on
the
the
bike.
You're
bike.
trying to keep
Yeah.
going.
So it happened maybe like 5 weeks out from the marathon. I
Yeah.
hurt my leg, and I was like, I can't just stop at this point,
Yeah.
right? So
Committed.
I had to find a way, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's going to be my short-term goal. I'm going to start increasing volume slowly, very slowly. I'm going to do a long training block, so I'm not going to compress it.
Of course. Yeah.
There is a week in
and take
February.
it
you won't
nice
be
and
running
slow.
a lot.
Yeah.
No, we're going to be training. We're going to do a
in
podcast in
February.
Mexico.
We're
Yes.
gonna- yeah.
Episode
you're going
7.
to.
I'm going to end up spending
Team.
$300 on a travel case for all his equipment because I can't find anything cheaper.
I'll get you a travel case for $30.
It's a duffel
You
bag.
can't spray paint cardboard and call it a travel case.
I absolutely can legally.
TSA property on it.
Sir, why is this box filled with beans?
Yes.
What do you mean? He said it was foam.
What's that
Sir, this is
What's
beans.
that brick of
Like,
cocaine?
like black beans.
Yeah, it's stowage. It's meant to help isolate the microphones. Cocaine helps remove moisture.
Are
It's
those
important.
uncooked black beans in your box?
In the liquid?
You know this could like
That would be cooked. What the fuck are you talking about?
no.
No, you mean
it's
like
cold.
talking-
It's
Wait,
cold
Michael, you don't
liquid.
put uncooked beans in water and suddenly they're cooked.
No, I was thinking it was like out of the can in the liquid.
No, he
Can we get a
flexed.
he
whiteboard?
just
This
he just
podcast
dumped a
needs
bunch of
whiteboard
canned
immediately.
black
He
beans
flex,
into
he
it.
flex sealed the
Is
box.
that what you were thinking?
Are they cooked?
Were you thinking like canned
Yeah.
black beans?
100%.
Those are cooked.
I
Oh,
think
I don't know.
no. Well, that no.
They
I'm
were
talking,
previously.
I'm not.
cooked.
I'm
We're
not talking about
twice
canned.
cooking them.
Michael, I'm not a chef here. I'm a fitness expert. Okay?
Expert. By that degree, you're also a cooking expert.
Michael, I played middle school basketball.
He-
Can
he
you
owns
hear
an
me
air
the first
fryer.
time I mentioned
Welcome
that?
back to the Forge, the
Oh my
cooking /
gosh.
fitness experts.
These
Oh,
guys
don't get
take me
BJ started on
serious.
cooking. That will absolutely
we're-
happen.
That's episode 42.
But we're on episode like 642.
We've been
right.
talking for
Oh.
50 minutes.
Yeah.
and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Adam. What's great about what you do and what Michael does and what Austin does is that it is vastly different than what I do. And all of us are on such different, inconceivably different journeys. There's a lot of similarities, a lot. There really are. And it might just be with our overall motivation and our goals and like what we're trying to achieve, but the means by which we're getting there are vastly different. And the one thing I love about this chat, this group chat that we've started, it's so stupid, and we mentioned it earlier, but there's a lot of like BS that we throw in one
Memes,
another.
there's a lot of
memes.
bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
I've got Ronnie Coleman as the background of my phone,
Which
and
we can't see. and
today
he
my
thinks
wife
No, I
was
saw
like,
that.
"Who is that?" And she was like, "It's kind of weird. You just have a picture of a guy from the '90s who's jacked as you,
Not
and
wearing any
oiled
clothes.
on as the
I
background
feel
of your
like
phone."
wasn't he a meme? I remember him from a meme.
Oh, he's definitely been mean.
About like Rockley or something like
Yeah,
that.
buddy.
Like,
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Not broccoli, but like, yeah, buddy. Like that's
Yeah,
that's
buddy.
Ronnie
I
Coleman.
don't. There's something I remember.
Yep. Wait.
Yep.
Ronnie
Anyway,
Coleman.
get with it, kids. We're meme lords over here.
But what I love about the group chat, though, truly, is like for 10 years I've been lifting now, like every day lifting.
10 years. Wow.
Like we're coming up on 10 years in like May or June, which is kind of crazy.
He's got the notebooks to prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be March.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about it, though, for me is that whole journey, for the most part, I was by myself. Like, even when I went to a physical gym, I have a home gym now. When I went to a local gym, a commercial gym, I had a community of people that you build up when you work out that early. Like,
Sure.
it's the same people every day, and you kind
Sure.
of make these friends, pseudo friends, and it's fun to have that. And I do miss that some days, by the way. But for the most part, it's been a very solo journey. It's just me. It's not a team sport. It's just BJ. It's just BJ going to the gym, doing his
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And then when you all started in the last 6 to 9 months, really getting into this, and I mean, like we talked about this earlier, like in 2020 or so, you two started like running and biking a little bit more at Lunkin and doing so. It was very inconsistent. I think you were a little bit more consistent still with your running at the time, but in the last 9 to 12 months overall for all of us, the three of you have gotten very consistent, way more than you've ever been. And this group chat happened where we're talking about our workouts every day, and I love having that group to be like, I know you guys don't understand this goal, this thing that I'm really proud of, like the setup I did at my home gym today, where I'm like, I just need to share this somewhere. It's so cool to me,
Yeah,
but I don't
yeah.
know where else to share it.
Right.
I love having that little group to like send those little anecdotes to when it really counts, because we're supportive of each other in those moments when it counts, but we're also able to like flip the switch and be like, you're the dumbest person I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
By the way, here's a meme that I found in a TikTok that's irrelevant to everything that we've been talking
I don't know
about.
where we're at with time, but what could be a good thing to do is like, so, you guys briefly mentioned why we're sitting here, right?
Well,
What's your
yeah,
vision,
no, that's
right? Like, I'm
absolutely,
looking to
that's
you two
absolutely
over
the,
there,
the
right?
great ending to this first one.
Yeah.
is like what are we doing? Why are we? And I think the important part here is to mention that based off what BJ just said, the whole point is to build that community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what BJ and I have talked about is building the Iron Clinic. That was something it's been BJ's dream for a long time, and what really inspired me to kind of push BJ out of his comfort zone with it is the idea of having a community of people like us that are able to do the same thing for a larger group of people.
Yes.
To be supportive of the different health journeys that people are on, and to build that community where people feel safe being on their own journey, but also have that network of people where they can say, I have questions, I have help, I have needs that we can provide to other people and be a part of it together. And so I think that's really where this podcast comes in, and where the Iron Clinic comes in is, let's start building that community of support network for everyone, and to be able to have people on their very different journeys be able to talk to each other and say, hey, I need help this way, this is how I can help you, and provide that network. So that's what I think this really comes down to.
It
But
really
BJ,
does
yeah,
boil.
you talk to your
It
people.
really does for me boil down to community. I mentioned it, almost an hour ago now, but like, there was a moment when I was traveling and I went to a gym, and there was a community there that I had never seen the likes of before, and even now I still haven't. And my goal has been to replicate that here in Cincinnati since I moved here. I want to build a place that there's a community of people that get together to chase down their goals, whatever they are. Everyone's goals are different.
Sure.
They are, and I want to be able to support people in that. But this podcast, Adam, to your question, I want to learn from you and the other people that we might have on this podcast, and talk to them about
Like Mark Ruffalo.
Like Mark Ruffalo. Like,
Yeah.
Mark, what are your goals? What are
Yeah.
you trying to do?
What's your fitness goals, Mark?
What was it like being pregnant, Mark, and exercising while you were pregnant?
Yeah.
Like, I want to have
gotta
those
be
kinds
rough.
of conversations about the things that I don't know about, and I want to be able to learn from those people. I want to be able to pass along my knowledge that I might
Yeah.
know, or that you might know to them, because one of the things that motivates me about building this community is that when I first started lifting and exercising, there's so much bad information out there.
Absolutely.
Oh
and,
my God.
And perhaps worse than the bad information is the difficult to decipher information, where it's like, here's the 5 different things you could do. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I have
Jay.
almost like paralysis choice when you present that many options.
Sure.
Like,
That's exactly what I had.
at the end of the day, it's a little bit
Yeah.
about like experimentation and figuring out what works for you. But sometimes someone just needs to go, do that.
Yeah. Start there. See how you like it.
Right.
If you don't, we will change
got
it
options.
completely.
Tell me,
options.
tell me
If
what you
you
like and
do,
don't like,
right.
and we're gonna adapt.
And I think that's a beautiful thing that like you acknowledge. I want to build this community, right? I want to start this gym, but you have a commitment to a community that you acknowledge you are not prepared to help everybody
No,
in that
absolutely
community,
not.
right? And so like you have this commitment to like I want to build a community so diverse that I need help.
Yes.
Helping everybody in it, and that's a beautiful,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing
And one of
to
the things that
acknowledge
BJ and I have talked about is that there's absolutely segments of like, especially within like the weightlifting community, there's a large segment of people that are underrepresented and don't have advocates for it. So
Absolutely.
like we talked about,
Yeah.
women in general
Yep.
they have a kind of a dearth of area for people to be able to have other people that understand what they're going through, and
Yeah.
there's different struggles, and that's something where it's like if we can provide the community to have people speak up and voice their opinions on
Right,
these things,
answer
that's something that-
questions
yeah.
and give advice and give motivation
well, yeah,
for
and
struggles
I
that
can-
we've never had.
Exactly, and I can speak to people like BJ and I both come from a similar background where we were athletic before, and we kind of had the Midwestern coach style of teaching that we really respond to. People
Right.
like you and Adam don't respond to it the same way. Like you
No.
don't respond to that kind of negative criticism that I thrive on, and that's
No.
something like. Just that small difference between you and I is something that I can't speak to, but there's someone else that we can rope in that has the
Exactly.
experience to deal with that, and
Yes.
that's what we want to provide that area for someone like that to come aboard and give that experience. because
Exactly.
we need it.
Because
Yeah.
you never know what small thing is gonna knock somebody off of their
Absolutely.
journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like you never know what little thing of like this is how I got to my journey. This person doesn't appreciate this one aspect of it. And that might completely dissuade them from coming back,
Well,
right?
and yeah,
and so like giving
bad
that
taste in their mouth that,
Right.
that really turns them off. But yeah, you're
giving that
absolutely right.
diversity of journeys and diversity of thoughts and goals and stuff. So it's like, okay, what are your goals? Cool. Go talk to this person.
Yeah.
That person is going to be able to understand you and talk to you in a way that motivates you and helps you.
Yeah, and so I think that's important. Like what we were trying to establish is a network of people that we're not going to be able to speak to everything.
No.
Let's find those people and let's give them the voice that they need to help other people. And that's absolutely what we're here for.
So at the end of the day, the end of the podcast, episode 1. I don't know everything.
Who wants
None
to
of
clap
us.
us off? Who wants to clap us off?
Do you have to
Clap
do
us
that?
off.
You have
We're
to clap
not
on.
clapping off.
You
We
have
only
to
need to
clap
clap.
on.
We
Yes,
only need to
clap
clap
on,
us
clap off,
in.
right?
But I'll
Oh.
let you clap us out
Can
too.
I clap us out?
Wait.
He really wants to.
Is that going to be our thing?
No, it's not going to be a
Totally.
clap
Oh, it's
off.
going to be, isn't it?
Clap
It's a
off.
clapper.
No,
No.
don't. You can't do it. You can't do it. Adam's going to do it.
So no, we got to
here's the
say
thing.
something
Right.
along the line of that's the end of the Forge.
That's the end of episode 1. We did
No, episode 642.
it. 640, 736.
Is this my time?
We're
Clap
done.
on.
We're going to...
Clap
You
off.
clap too early. Wait, don't clap
We're
yet.
not done yet.
Oh,
Anyway, we'd like to
soon.
thank the Glendale House for hosting us, and it's
course.
been a great time. And we'll see you guys next week.
Do they
or
even know
next
our
month.
names? Do we even say our names? They
We've
don't
said
even
them
know who we
several
are.
times
We'll do
throughout
it on
this whole
episode
thing.
2. Sorry,
Episode
everyone.
7,336.
I don't think we actually
will
did
have
introduce ourselves.
Cue cards, names.
We don't need to. It's
And,
episode 642.
Yeah, that's true.
all right, clap us out, Adam. 3, 2, 1.